Today, we're excited to dive into the transformative power of YouTube with Johnathon Price, the founder of Down for Sound Shop, and a leading figure in using YouTube to drive substantial business growth. His journey from a modest beginning in his parents' attic to generating 20 million in annual sales is nothing short of inspiring. Wow. With over 500,000 subscribers, he's mastered the art of turning a YouTube channel into a vital client acquisition tool. So Johnathon will unveil his top strategies for enhancing viewer engagement, building a robust email list, and effectively leveraging YouTube's vast reach to expand business operations. So if you're looking to transform your business and your YouTube presence into revenue-generating asset, this discussion is tailored just for you. So stay tuned.
This episode of the Lead Machine Growth Show is brought to you by Lead Machine, the step-by-step, tech-easy system for getting leads online. Are you struggling to get leads from your lead magnet? Are you tired of seeing low conversion rates and losing potential customers? It's time to revive your lead magnet and start attracting more leads. Download our free report, 10 Deadly Lead Magnet Mistakes That Are Costing You Leads, and learn how to create a high-converting lead magnet that engages your audience and drives conversions. Don't let common mistakes hold you back any longer. Revive your lead magnet today and download your free report at www.getleadmachine.com/deadly. Welcome to the Lead Machine Growth Show, where you will discover how to tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream. Paul Guyan, the mastermind behind the Lead Machine, introduces you to trailblazers who inspire you to implement life-changing solutions and systems you can model to nurture your leads and get your offers seen by your ideal clients who will invest in themselves and you. Be sure you visit our website at www.leadmachinegrowthshow.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, tune in and get ready to transform your vision into reality.
Welcome to the Lead Machine Growth Show. I'm Paul Guyan, your host, lead machine coach, and the founder of the Lead Machine Mastermind. I'm dedicating to helping you tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream. So whether you're just starting out or looking to take your business to the next level, let's get this conversation started and turn your dreams into reality. Founder of Down for Sound Shop, Johnathon Price grew an e-commerce store to 18 million in annual sales within 5 years. He is the founder of Down for Sound Shop. In the span of just 5 years, he went from working in his parents' attic to 20 million in sales annually in the car audio industry, a milestone unheard of in that sector. Now he has a thriving YouTube community and fellow baseheads with 500,000 subscribers and coaches others on creating their passion in their business. So Johnathon, welcome. Thanks so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Yeah, so it's cool. I remember my first new car way back in the 80s. It was a Volkswagen Scirocco, and I equipped that with what would have been there back then, a really, kicking audio system. It had I think it was a 16-band equalizer, booster, and speakers and whatnot. But I'm sure that pales in comparison to what is today. It was a cassette based. It was a cassette player. If you even know what that is. But
yeah,
that's from
cassettes and 8 tracks.
Yeah, I had both. I had 8 tracks in my first car, which was a van. So what were the initial steps and strategies that when you first launched your YouTube channel, and especially those that laid the foundation for growth?
So my initial thing, and I think this is one of the biggest reasons why I was able to grow the business so fast, was when I started doing my YouTube videos, which I was just videoing me going to car shows and car audio shows and stuff like that. And I was kind of documenting my journey kind of in a vlog style. So I would go to these shows and I would do a demo. Like I had a vehicle, like you were talking about yours, you made your system big or whatever. I had a vehicle that had a very large system in there. So when somebody would get in there and they would hear it, it would just blow their mind. Like this, it literally blows people's hair all around, and it's like
Yeah.
just a crazy experience. So I would video it and put it on YouTube, and people would see it, and it would cause a bunch of comments and everything like that. So at that time, I didn't have a business at that time whatsoever, but now I know at that time I was generating a huge organic following, and an organic following is what everybody should be wanting and what they should be thriving for, because once you start paying for followers and paying for this type of stuff, I mean, paying for advertising is okay, but the more you can get organic engagement, the
Yeah.
is so much more valuable. So at that time, like, people were following me just for genuinely being interested in what I was doing. So I was building this relationship with them. So that started getting to, I think I was like at maybe 30 or 40,000 subscribers at the time, and I kept going to these car audio shows, and people, every time I'd let them hear my vehicle, they would ask me, where do you get your equipment from? And I would just tell them, at the time I was sponsored by a couple of companies, so I would just tell them, go to these companies and get your stuff. And then one day somebody asked me that question after I gave them a demo, and it was like, a light bulb went up in my head. I'm like, I could be selling these people this stuff if I could just
Yeah.
figure out how. But I didn't know anything about business or anything like how to start a business or whatever. But
Yeah.
that was when the idea started. Like, I have all these followers, all these people asking for what I have in my vehicle. If I could figure out how to marry the two, I could get a piece of it. So that's kind of how it got started. And having an organic, so when you have the organic following, they feel this connection with you, and
Yeah.
it's so valuable to. So when you do, if you have a following or you start doing something and you get it to the level where people are asking, like, where do you get your stuff from, or can you help me with mine? I mean, a lot of people say what I do isn't interesting, like, you could be a landscaper or a plumber or whatever, like, nobody cares about this. I'm like, there's people out there that video
Yeah.
themselves cutting grass, and they have millions of followers. Like, don't tell me that you can't figure out a way to make yours interesting if these people can do it. You just have to kind of be yourself and stay consistent over time. And that's what I've done. And that's kind of what it turned into.
Yeah, I think consistency is a huge factor. And so you were engaging with people. People were commenting on your videos and asking you stuff, and you just kind of you just so you kind of weren't even aware of what you were doing when you started out. You just were doing it because you loved it. You love car audio. You love music. And I saw one of those videos where you had someone sitting in the seat, and you literally, folks, their hair was being blown back by the bass.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
where bass. So is that where bass heads came from?
Correct, correct. The
Yeah.
people call them base heads because they would like more base heavy vehicles. So we just have this nickname, base heads.
That's great. And so you're following, then you can coin them and call, hey, bass heads. You can talk to them that way, and they feel like
Yeah.
they're part of your tribe. They're your community, which
Hmm.
is an amazing thing. And by the way, naming your tribe is a really great way to further that relationship. So what were some of
Right.
the, yeah. So
Car
hey,
audio fanatics or something, like, I mean, a couple of different names for them, but they know when I'm speaking to them, and they take it.
yeah, that's cool. What were some of the obstacles that you had to overcome in the beginning? You mentioned that you really didn't know anything about business. So how did how did you change that and attack that so that you could actually start to sell and get into that entrepreneurial journey that you obviously are on right now?
I had two different obstacles. So the first YouTube channel that I started, back back in my day when YouTube first started, like, they didn't have like two-factor authentication or anything like this, so it was fairly easy for somebody to hack your YouTube channel. And long
Hmm.
story short, somebody hacked my YouTube channel, deleted all my videos, and I had gotten to the first channel to, I don't know, it was like 20 or 30,000 subscribers, and all the work that I'd put into getting it to that point was basically wiped off the face of the earth. And I'm like, I'm not doing another YouTube channel. People can just, like, like hack into it and easily and delete all my hard work, and I lose everything in my following and everything like that. So I quit doing it for a little while. And then people kept asking, when are you going to do another video or whatever? I'm like, I don't want to do it under that channel because I always felt like it was compromised. So I'm like, I'm going to start over, and I'm going to make this channel more about my life. And that's how I came up with the Life of Price channel name, because it's not just car audio. Like, it could be going skydiving or traveling places or whatever. It can be everything. Yes, it's more car audio, but I knew I would be uploading more than just car audio on there. So that's how I came up with the name, the Life of Price, for it.
Ah,
So that was one big hurdle that I overcame. Again, consistency, not giving up, and you're going to face these things. And the biggest reason to get like to where you want to be at is to not give up. So later on, after I started the new channel and I started slowly growing a following again, and by the way, it's going to take way longer, just like with financial goals, it's going to take way longer than you think it's going to. Like, if
yeah.
some people definitely get lucky, but the vast majority of the people, such as me, reality is it's going to take longer than you think it's going to. So you have to keep going and not give up. So anyway, it finally started going, and it started gaining more and more momentum over the years. And once you get to a certain point, you kind of, your snowball is big enough to where it's just gaining and gaining more and more mass. So that after I got that started, and like I said, the second thing was me trying to figure out the business side after I had grown the second channel to like 30 or 40,000 subscribers, and me having the light bulb go off in my head.
Mhm.
So the first step, that like when I had the light bulb go off, I'm like, I got to figure out, how do you start a business? Like, what's the first step that I take? I'm like, okay, well, I need to reach out to the companies that I want to sell their brand of product for and ask them what it takes. So I called up the first company. I'm like, hey, or emailed them or whatever. I'm like, hey, like I'm interested in becoming a dealer for your product. Like, what do I need to do? And they're like, well, we need a business license,
Mhm.
and you need to do a buy-in for our product. I'm like, okay, so step number one, I need to figure out how to get a business license. So I went on Google, typed up like, how do you get a business license? And before that day, I just always thought it was something that required so much work and money. And like, I
Mhm.
just had no idea because I never looked at it before. And I looked it up. I'm like, what, is that easy? Like,
Is that all? Yeah.
is that inexpensive to start start a business? So anyway, it's not that difficult. Like, anybody can do it. So, and
Yeah.
basically, and I know now there's probably a, a million videos on YouTube or whatever, like how to start a business or how to get a business license or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
it's probably laid out like in detail, step by step, what you need to do. So anyway, that was the first couple of hurdles that I had to overcome to get it going. And obviously, after I got the business license officially, then I contacted the company back, and after I saved up some money and placed my first buy-in with them, and so that was the first few steps.
Yeah. Did you ever mess around with affiliate products at all? Or at that point, you probably didn't know, weren't aware of them at that point, were you? Not really.
Correct.
Yeah.
Affiliate marketing wasn't really even a thing at that time, but now we have I think around 100 affiliates.
Yeah.
So, like that tells you like how much has grown over the years and how important it
Mhm.
is. We pay out tens of thousands of dollars a month to our affiliates that are like out there promoting us. So, affiliates, when you're first getting started, it's a um, well, I guess you could do it, but I was more like when I was bootstrapping it from the beginning, and like I was the number one affiliate, and they also didn't have affiliate tracking measures. Like now, like we use some I can't remember what the service is called, but basically the people get links and codes or whatever, and each time somebody uses it, it tracks it, and it's easy to know what to pay them. But back then it didn't exist, so you would have to go off with somebody saying, "Hey, I got this person to buy your stuff," and you're like, well, I know that person too. So anyway, it kind of like
Yeah.
got like, it was kind of word of mouth, but and you're having to trust them because there was no trackable measure. But anyway, yeah, affiliates now is very important. And the more you incentivize them, the more they are more willing to work for you, is because everybody wants to get paid a good amount of money. So we just make
Yeah.
it as sweet as possible.
So there's just for the audience, there's affiliates. So affiliates promote your stuff, but there's also you can promote other people's stuff on your YouTube channel, so you get a commission and you don't have to do the customer service and all those other things and product delivery and configuration and all that stuff. The merchant handles all of that. So there's just two sides to the coin. So amazing that you tapped into the affiliate selling for you early on. That's I think Click Magic is one of those services that that can track those clicks. And a lot of times,
Mhm.
if you have a shopping cart or whatever, it's built into those kinds of things these days. So things
Mhm.
have really ramped up in the last few years. Uh,
Right.
so speaking of tools, what are some of the software tools that you use that helps you manage the channel? And obviously, um, you have some video editing. You probably use your phone. You probably have some higher end stuff, but there's editing. There's the optimization of videos and things like that on your channel. What are some of your go-to tools that you just love?
So, I mean, as far as like the trackable measures stuff, like we use Lead Dino for like the affiliate stuff and trackable measures on that. But when it comes to luckily now I was able to transition, and this was a step in my business, and another time when I faced I guess a hardship was like I knew that my YouTube channel was like what started all this for me and got the ball rolling and like getting all the attention. But once my business grew to a level of where I'm like, my business is making me so much more money than this YouTube thing is. So I started obviously spending more time with the business than my YouTube. So my YouTube started backsliding because I wasn't giving it as much. I wasn't watering it as much because
Yeah,
the plant that I was growing, my Down for Sound plant, was growing way more fruitful and faster and better than my YouTube channel was. So people started messaging me, "Hey, what's going on with like your YouTube? I haven't seen you upload a video in a month." And I'm like, "Oh crap, it's already been a month." And so and well, people probably know like when you actually shoot a video and you really want it to be nice and there's a lot of editing that goes on behind it, it requires a lot of time and work to make that become a reality.
yeah,
So I would go to, I'm like, okay, I'm going to start making videos again. I'd go to a show and I'd start recording. And then on the way home, like, man, I got so much work to do from all this video that I shot. And it would become, I'm like, I just don't want to mess with it. So
yeah,
in a longer story short, I ended up, and I finally got to a point where I could afford to have somebody to go with me to the shows. Or at first, I started sending him the videos, and he would edit them, and he kind of learned my style, and he's made them better than I ever could have been. I wasn't ever really talented with all the super fancy video stuff. I think I was using Sony Vegas at the time. Man, I could be showing my age at that point because it's been a while ago since I've edited my like officially edited a video. Now, if I do something quick, I just use like the iMovie app on iPhone or whatever, like it does fine for splicing stuff together and doing a little video. But anyway, so I ended up hiring him now full time. So he'll go with like I'll pay for him to go with me to all these events. He shoots it. He edits it, he uploads it, like so it's been, but that's kind of the different levels. When I first got started, obviously I couldn't afford to have anybody do it myself,
yeah.
but as long as you keep going, you're able to get to these different levels and eventually have, I mean, I'm sure like we'll end up having a couple of people doing video shoots and edits and uploads and stuff like that. So that's where we've gotten to now. And I'm so glad and grateful because there's no way that I could be running this business efficiently as possible, and trying to edit videos is just not something that's
Yeah.
efficient for me to be doing.
So do you have a brick and mortar? Do you have a facility that you work out of, a physical location?
Yeah, so we have, excuse me, our main warehouse is in Las Vegas, Nevada. We also have another, and that's where it kind of I started my first warehouse at, and then started one in Mississippi and another one in North Carolina. So we're able to service like the whole United States relatively quickly. But obviously it didn't start that way. It started in my parents' attic, and
Yeah.
then I ended up moving to Vegas and like started it in my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, but in her garage, and then it grew to like a couple of storage units, and then it grew to a 2,500 square foot warehouse, and then a 7,500 square foot warehouse, and then 2 years ago we moved into a 30,000 square foot warehouse. So just been constantly pushing the envelope, and that's kind of what it's grown to over the years.
Wow. That's really cool. And you, one of the questions I have, and some of the people that I coach and that work with my private clients in my private mastermind group, they have there's either they have some of them have YouTube channels, and one of my guys is a golf pro client,
Mhm.
and he's really starting to crush it. He's got a 30 or 40,000 subscribers, and
Nice.
he's ramping up, and consistency was key with him. But one of the things that I teach all of my clients is that they need to build an email list, and so that those followers they can come and go. The followers on YouTube, your YouTube channel can get hacked, and you've been through that. And so I always say that if you create an email list, then you can contact your customers anytime, and you own it. It's your business asset. And so if and when you sell your business, that is one of your customer list is your most valuable asset, I believe. And so, what are some of the things that you've done to build your email list?
Yeah, so like you said, it's something that you build like a lot over time, and it's getting more people. Us having a business like the downforsoundshop.com website, the more people, the more traffic and attention we get to that, and like is the better. Especially obviously when people purchase from us, we get all their information there. But even now, like you can not just our website, but you go to somebody's website, and if you're there for like 10 seconds, it pops up, hey, join our email list for a discount code. So that's something that's become very popular here in the, I don't know, last couple of years.
Yeah,
So even if they don't purchase from you, you get their information because you offer them a little bite, like you can give them
yeah,
a little incentive, 5% off, 10% off, whatever it might be. So
yeah,
that's something that we've done to collect people's stuff, even if they're just browsing, basically, because not the ratio of people that actually purchase is relatively low to the just like people that go shopping. Like you got a lot of window shoppers, but not a lot of people that want to let go of the money. So
yeah,
that's when we started collecting the people's information without them purchasing something, and that's been a great thing because especially when we're doing sales or whatever, you can hit that list and like, hey, 15% off this weekend or whatever, and like you can see the sales go way up, and now we also have a feature where we can text people as well, like on that
yeah,
same platform. So, and text is way more receptive than email is for us now. So but it is more costly to send out text,
yeah,
but the return on it is way better. So anyway, those are a few different things that we've done to collect.
yeah. Awesome. And I think consistency here is key. Emails, people, I think buy off of emails, and of course text. Text is really on the rise today. People who are listening, you should be investing in technology that can help you text your people. And there's also text to pay, and there's ways that you can use text to, like, if your phone rings and you can't answer it, it can say it'll text them and say, we've got your thing, sorry we missed your call, but we'll be back to you, by the way, here's our special that's going on. So there's a bunch of ways that you can use text, and text is very, very responsive. It's
Definitely.
e it's easy to delete an email in an inbox or just ignore it. And some people have thousands and tens of thousands of emails in their inbox, and they give up on it. But
Right. And the
email still
biggest
is not
problem
dead.
with it's still not dead, but the biggest problem with emails now is like so many people are bombarded with them. Like it's easier for you to go to spam. So
Yeah,
if like me, I never check my spam box. So that's a really delicate thing as well. Like for if you're sending too many, you can like trigger something with Yahoo Mail or Hotmail or Gmail or whatever, where it's like, oh, this guy's just spamming. We're just going to start sending your stuff to spam, and people will never see your stuff. So that's another thing that you have to pay attention to. And that's when you have these services. whether it's email service or text. Not so much. Text is usually going to go through, they can decide to read it or not, but usually a text bubble pops up and people are more likely to read it than an email, or if the email goes to spam. So that's something to pay attention to as well. Like on your email, you get data from that. It'll tell you what bounced back, who unsubscribed, who opened it, what they looked at, all that type of stuff. So you
Yeah.
definitely have to. Business is always about pivoting and finding out what is working the best, and then when you think it's good, like you think you kind of got it perfect or whatever, try it again, and then like, do you get the same result, or did it get better? Did it get worse? Always
Yeah.
like fine tuning stuff. It's all about the details.
Yeah, good point. And I think it's the one detail that's really important is making sure that when you are emailing people or texting people, make sure that you're giving value and sending valuable stuff. If you're promoting all the time, yeah, you're going to end up in spam. People are going to unsubscribe and complain. But if you're giving educational stuff, which there's just a virtual plethora of stuff that you can learn about audio, and it's always changing and it's getting better. There's new equipment. There's new ways, and plus there's your favorite music. There's all kinds of stuff that you can talk about and educate
Yep.
people, entertain, educate, entertain, and motivate people to
I can tell you a
take
quick
action.
lesson, a quick, huge lesson that I learned here recently over the past couple of years with my YouTube channel. And I'd gotten to where I was so busy with my business, and I'm like, I want to keep growing this thing. So when my channel first started, it was more of me going to car shows and car audio shows and getting people's reactions and cool vehicles and all this stuff. And then I'm like, I transitioned into, I need to be showing people more product and selling,
Yeah,
basically, so I can keep pushing my business. Well, what happened was, you probably already know,
yeah,
my subscriber rate, my view rate, my engagement rate, everything started going down because people were like, this dude's just trying to sell me stuff every time I see another video from him, is sell, sell, sell. So everything started backsliding. So over the past couple of years, I've been paying the price for that. And I know I knew how to fix it after I realized it. But it's, I guess that saying, once the damage is done, it's hard to undo it. Like, so I've spent over a year trying to turn that around to where I'm doing now like 4 or 5 like videos that I know, like, that are going to car shows, what people started subscribing to me organically for. I'll do
yeah,
4 or 5 of those, and then maybe a video that's product promotion or a product release or whatever it might be. Or I might just put like a little thing in one of those videos, like a little 10 or 15 second, hey, check out this new speaker we came out with, or whatever, instead of this long drawn out thing. So
yeah,
don't don't oversell people, because they will run away. Because it's like, I mean,
yeah,
let's face it, it's every day when you go on social media, you're already bombarded with paid ads and ads all day long anyway. So people don't want to see it all day long from you if they genuinely like you. So you got
yeah.
to find that balance with that.
Yeah, good point. And I was going to ask you about content creation and getting back to the educate, entertain, and motivate. That's, I think 80/20 is what they recommend is with your content. But I was going to ask you about how do you develop ideas? I mean, one of them is obviously going to shows and revealing new products. Is there some research that goes into that, keyword research, or how do you approach that?
Do you mean ideas for products or ideas for videos?
Ideas for videos, content
So
creation.
ideas for videos, I listen to my subscriber base a lot. Like, well,
Yeah.
so now we actually started a series. It's like rapid fire questions segment with Johnathon Price. Like, and we're almost on 100. We're coming up on 100 segments dedicated to people's questions they ask us. Like, so if they, and that really has helped a lot, because people feel like, I mean, you get 500,000 subscribers, or collectively over 1 million subscribers online. People think you're famous or whatever it might be. So
Yeah.
for them to have this kind of connection with me, like, oh, this guy hears me. Like, he read my question, and not only did he read it, he's answering it in, like, on one of his YouTube videos. So that's helped a lot. Like, so
Yeah.
it's almost like a never ending content machine, because everybody's install is unique or equipment is unique or whatever. So at least I think it's once or twice a week now we're releasing like the rapid fire question segment, like ask JP something and he'll answer it for you. So we get, and even if it's not like something like that, maybe they'll tell us like, oh, I wish you offered this product, or I wish like this or whatever. So we're always listening. So that's been an awesome thing for us to not only for new video ideas, but also for obviously new product ideas as well.
Yeah. And so you develop your own products then?
Yeah, so when we started by selling other people's products, and then over the years, people like the Down for Sound name brand started becoming a household name brand, and people are like, "Oh, I love this product, but why don't you make a speaker under your name or Wire or whatever?" I'm like, "Oh, maybe one day, I don't know," and I just kept pushing that down the road, and finally one day I'm like, "Okay, I'll start something," and that was. I don't know. I think we started doing that 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, and we started out with a few different SKUs or products, and now we just went through 550 different SKUs for our Down for Sound name brand of products. So, and now where we're selling probably 85%, 85% of our orders that come through our website, if it's not all Down for Sound stuff, it contains something Down for Sound branded product. So there's this huge shift that's been happening, and it shows you how much value is there, where we still sell a lot of the other brands that we've sold for all these years, but now you see so many people gravitating to Down for Sound because they have that connection with me, and they're like, I like this guy, he's down to earth and he
Yeah.
helps people and this, and so they're like, I want to support him, I want to buy from him, not somebody that I have no idea who owns the company, I have no idea what they do or whatever. So it shows you over those span of years how it's transitioned, and that's because of having that organic following and that great I guess connection with the subscriber base.
Yeah, I think that taking suggestions and listening to them and responding with, "Hey, I'm taking action. I'm answering your question. I'm creating a product for you because you asked for it, because you wanted this extra thing in your product, or you want to support our brand." That's a great way to engage your audience. And what would you recommend though for someone who's just starting out, who doesn't have an audience yet? How would you go about things a little bit differently? I mean, obviously you went through, the hacking and all that, but you started over and you already had some information. So what would you recommend for someone who's just starting out?
Yeah, so that's a thing as well, because I see people doing it backwards from what I feel like should be done. And that's they'll start a brand or a business and then they try to start a social media following, which there's nothing wrong with that, but it's kind of backwards because if you say you have a business or a brand and you're selling whatever, you start a social media thing just to promote your products. Like people are again already getting bombarded with ads and products all day long anyway. So
Yeah.
that's going to be very hard for you to grow that because it's it's not an organic way. People are going to think, oh, this guy's just trying to sell me this stuff. Like, why do I want to like follow him or her or whatever it might be? So the best thing to do is to, in my opinion, is like how I did it, is do it organically. Like, and again, if you're a plumber or whatever, like you can go to, if somebody has a clogged toilet, you can make a little vlog or whatever, like, hey, this is how I fix it. And of course, are you going to lose a couple of customers that fix it themselves instead of calling you? Sure.
Yeah.
But are you going to gain a lot of people? You remember when you put something out social media wise, you aren't just, if you have a local business, you aren't just like catering to your local following. Your videos are going to be going out worldwide, so you're going to be
Yeah.
helping people. And then there's people like me. I don't want to unclog my own toilet. I don't want to do plumber work. So
Heck
I'm like,
no.
this guy's helping people, like, and I see his video, I'm gonna call him. So you
Yeah.
get that organic following, and even if that thing, like, again, you're being helpful, you're providing the value on the front side, so people feel that connection with you, like, oh, I want to support this guy instead of whoever else, if you Google plumbers in my area or whatever, like I want to support him or her because they're they're doing the right thing. They're trying to help people. They're good people. So I think that's a good way to do it. Again, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You can figure out a way to you sharing it. It might be boring to you, but there's people out there that love or they find it interesting. They might not love it, but they think it's very interesting. And next, they're watching it, and it just creates this snowball of engagement and your name and face being out there with the people that could potentially use your services.
Yeah, and I think when you started the second channel, The Life of Price, that was really really kind of an extra connection with you because you didn't just cover your products. You were going to shows, but you're sharing your life too. And people want to connect with real people. People don't buy from companies; they buy from people. And so
Right.
building up that connection with your audience that way, I think is super important. That gives me some ideas on what I might do. Maybe I'll
Awesome.
share when I'm going to the gig and loading in and loading out and those kind of things and
Yeah.
backstage and that kind of thing, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Um, so a couple more things. We've got a few more minutes, I think. You got some time? A couple more
Yeah. We got a few
questions?
minutes. Yeah. Let's
Yeah,
go.
okay. So, what about off platform? So you mentioned it earlier, your business started really taking off, or locally, you've got a local presence, and then you've got the YouTube channel suffered a bit, and then you kind of revamped. So, what about leveraging off platform, off YouTube? How do you get business from offline?
So if I didn't have the internet, like
Yeah,
that's I think to myself all the time, like, man, that's a hard thing to do because
yeah.
it would literally go in my mind. It's you have to go back to door-to-door sales or going to different business not businesses but different, like, say for me, car audio shows in your area, and just keep trying to be out there in front of people. Like, you have to be out there engaging with people. So and that's kind of, again, that's how I started. I was going to all these shows, but I just started documenting it. But even when I wasn't videoing it, you're out there with these people, you're talking to them, you're getting your name out there, and it's that engagement and the, like, them feeling that connection with you is what really, like, helped start that. Now I'm like, man, if you're not utilizing the internet or like social media, you're leaving so much on the table. Like, it's very, very important. And the vast majority of it is free. Of course I mean, we pay a lot in advertising and stuff like that now, but it
Yeah.
didn't start that way. It started organically, and it started by going to all these shows. And by the way, I still go to these shows. Like, I travel almost every weekend throughout the summer. Like, I travel a
Mhm.
lot just to be in front of these people. For instance, this weekend I went to a show in Auburn, Alabama, and this guy came up. He's like, "Hey, I have a shop, and uh, just because you came here today and to our small town, I'm gonna start being a dealer for your product, and I'll do it right
Nice.
now." And I'm like, "What?" So he did a $5,000 buy-in that day because I actually came there and I was there in person. So that tells you, like, how much people value you doing stuff like that. So
Yeah, so building that network of dealers is a way. One of the things that I'd worked with a client that they did an annual catalog. They aren't doing it anymore. They're relying on the internet, but it just makes me think, gosh, would I get a Johnson? I like buying shoes. I
mhm.
like nice clothes and I buy Johnston Murphy shoes, and
Okay.
I'm wearing a pair of their boots today, and I get a catalog from them every month, and I usually I'll go, oh hey honey, and I fold over the edge and I said, this would be a great Christmas gift, or this would be
Nice.
great, or
Yeah.
something like that. So that might be something that they're expensive, but they really can. I know that they're doing it, so they're having results, and they do have a whole online presence and things like that too.
Mhm.
So, anyways, just an idea.
Yeah.
Um, beyond so that your client acquisition strategy is organic, but you're also doing some paid ads and you're driving them to your store, your online store to purchase, and then you're following up with them via email with their transactions and special offers. Is there anything else about monetization that we should know about?
Yeah, so with are you talking about monetizing ads and stuff
Yeah,
like, or doing ads with, yeah, paid ads? So with that, like I was against doing paid ads for the longest time because I'm like, I don't trust it. I don't see, I know they
yeah,
can give you reports, but who knows if they're making that up or whatever. So I was against it for the longest time, and I ended up hiring a guy that he does like my social media posts now, and a lot of he helps with product development and SEO and all the stuff that I really don't want to mess with anymore.
right.
So he talked me into it one day. He's like, "Hey, you already have a great thing going. You have a very powerful engine. Let me be your supercharger, your turbocharger to your engine." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, well, like, what do you mean?" And he's like, let's try to do some ads and we'll test it out and see what results come from it. I'm like, man, I really don't want to. I was going back and forth, and he's like, let's do $100. I'm like, all right, $100. Like, and this was, I don't know, 3 years ago or whatever. So I'm like, okay, $100. So he does it, and then like it ends up reaping, I don't know how much money in return, but he's like, this is what you spent, this is how many people clicked on it, this is what sold from those people clicking on it. I'm like, okay, that kind of makes sense, but it could be a one-time thing or whatever. Okay, try it again, $100. So he does it again, and like, and each time he's also optimizing it, seeing what worked good, what didn't work, like what people
Yeah,
clicked on, all that stuff. So he does it again, and the returns a little bit more. And I'm like, all right, let's try $200. So anyway, that kind of went on, and like the numbers kept going up and up. So I think last year we spent almost $500,000 in paid ads for our business. So that shows you I'm not one to waste money. So if I'm spending it, like that lets you know that the return is there, but you have to be looking at like what is working and what's not. Because I know a lot of people that have spent a ton of money and the ROI is not good. So you have to always be optimizing, seeing what words people are using, what pictures work, what like all that stuff. It all matters. This like I tell my staff or my team members, it's all about the details. Like you have to be in the details on these things to really optimize it. Because if you're not looking at the details, you're not going to get the most out of your investment in anything in life. But since we're
yeah,
talking about paid ads right now,
yeah.
you're not going to get the most out of it.
Yeah, for sure. And that's true in life too. Yeah, one thing that's interesting about paid ads is that, and I think so many people don't do this, but should be doing it, is that if you're always building a list, if you're building a list through your paid advertising, you're paying for the initial traffic, but you don't have to pay for them again because you can follow up with them via email, and that's free,
Yep, you got them.
basically free. So that you talked about optimizing, that helps to optimize and helps to make that maybe you lose $10 on the first acquisition, but you can gain it back. You can get 50 or 100 or $1,000 back by following up with them and saying, hey, there's 15% off this weekend, for my super bass woofer bass head special,
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, so that's a great way to leverage that. So well, as we wrap up, JP, with
Mhm.
your final words, what are three things that our listeners can do to leverage these ideas that you've put into play and put them into action?
So my number one thing is like what you just said, action. Like you have to take action. I can't stress this enough. Like people, and I'm speaking from experience, by the way, because I would go to these business conferences, coaching conferences, like all these things, and I would get back home and I would just get back into my ways. And I'm like, one day I'm like, why do I spend all this money and I haven't done anything different? And you're wondering why you're not getting any better or you're not getting any better results because you're not taking action on what you heard or learned or whatever. So that's the big thing. action, taking action. The next thing is consistency.
Yeah.
Again, you're going to think it should happen way faster than what reality is going to bring you. And that's when most people quit. And that's why you need to keep going. And that's what I did. I kept going. And that's why I am where I am today. And knowing that, knowing kind of the blueprint, like if I'm already here, like I've gotten here, and the next 3 or 5 years is going to be ridiculous because I keep being consistent. I know if I keep doing this, it's going to keep growing. So that's a big thing, being consistent. The third thing that I would say is this is my personal thing, but I'm big on living 2 to 3 years behind my financial wins because I've seen so many people start celebrating too fast and they either go bankrupt or their cash flow gets so bad where they can't grow their company like it should be because they're like, man, I have this great idea, but I can't come out with this product because I don't have the money because they just kept blowing everything so trying to make it short and sweet. Like I live 2 to 3 years behind my financial wins, and that's been one of the biggest reasons why I've been able to level up my business over the years because of that. Because I always had this nest egg that's grown along the side of my business, and I'm like, and when an opportunity comes, I can get it every time. I'm like, I have an idea every time I have that there. So now where the opportunities first started at say $5,000, then it went to 50,000, 250,000. Now, like I'm looking at a $5 million airplane for a tool because it just keeps growing. And like I know now time is like something that's very valuable to me, and I want to be able to get back to my wife and my daughter and be there for her games and everything like that. So now there's like a shift there. But anyway, I wouldn't ever be able to be doing this if it wasn't for me living behind my wins and also like having awesome customers and taking care of them and doing business the right way. That there's a lot to say about that too. But so that's my top three that I would say people should like pay attention to.
Yeah, and I think no matter if you're just living life and working full time for someone else, living behind those financial gains, living behind a couple years behind, or living within your means, is a great tip for advice. So thanks for that. And having faith, being consistent, like you mentioned in number two, that consistency, and a lot, like you said, a lot of people give up. They give up before their dream is. So you really got to believe in that dream. I think Hal Elrod calls it unwavering faith and persistent action until the very last minute. And so the very last moment. So and that moment could be the rest of your life. So if you've got a
Definitely.
dream and you want to pursue it, then you've got to have faith that you can do it. And of course, faith in God. And so speaking of faith, remember faith and action go hand in hand. So keep the pedal to the metal. And until next time on the Lead Machine Growth Show, I'm Paul Guyon, your host, and Johnathon Price. Fabulous interview. Nice meeting you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, hey, wait a minute. There's one more thing. If you want to connect with JP, go to thelifeofprice.com. That's www.thelifeofprice.com. And also check out his store on D4, the down4sound.com. That's down for the number 4, sound.com, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That'll do it.
So long, everyone. Thanks so much.
Thank you for tuning in to the Lead Machine Growth Show with Paul Guyon, where we show you how to tackle your tech, master your message, and design your dream so that you can transform your vision into reality. Remember to visit our website at www.leadmachinegrowthshow.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Lead Machine Growth Show.